Snow is right at our doorstep here at the Tri-State, and yes, it's going to get heavy at times. Good morning, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. We're not seeing the snow quite yet here in the Queen City, but obviously it is very close to us. It'll be here within the next 2 hours for those in southeastern Indiana, here in Cincinnati, closer to about noon to 1, and then will only continue to be quite impactful for the rest of your day. It's why it's a first alert weather day, because of how travel will be impacted. Any plans, outdoor plans, even the walk from the car to the front door is going to be really hard once we see enough of this snow start to accumulate. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments here on Facebook. I'm also live on YouTube, all of our streaming platforms as well. Let's talk about the timeline for today, in which no big changes. That's the good news here. Still forecasting 2 to 5 inches possible. Maybe some of us getting closer to that 6-inch point. I'll show you who could potentially get there coming up in just a second, but snow likely for everyone. Lower snowfall totals south of the Ohio River. Now Sunday morning, tomorrow morning, that snow's going to come to a stop. Watch out for the refreeze. So anything that melts is going to refreeze because of how cold it's going to get. In fact, we're waking up tomorrow morning in the single digits. Haven't seen air like that in a long time. And then Sunday afternoon, hanging on to those daytime highs in the teens, a high of 15 degrees for tomorrow. Whew, it's going to be very cold for the Bengals game. And of course, refreezing is still possible through the afternoon. And then stepping out the door on Monday morning, freezing cold, a cold afternoon too. We do have a glimmer of something more normal for this time of year in that 7-day forecast, and even some 50-degree high temperatures. So that's something to look forward to. If perhaps this is not your speed, reminder that those in Fayette and Union counties no longer under a winter weather advisory, instead upgraded to a winter storm warning. Again, 2 to 5 inches of snow possible, especially there in the pink, the purple, lesser snowfall totals. Travel impacts are likely everywhere. Be mindful of that. And then the refreeze is most certainly likely everywhere, because everyone is going to be feeling the cold tomorrow. Cold weather advisory is in effect from 7 o'clock tonight through 11 o'clock Monday. That means wind chill values, of course, it'll fluctuate, but starting tonight and lasting through Monday morning are going to be at or below zero, dropping as far as 15 degrees below zero. Even in the afternoons, not seeing much relief with that at all. So make sure you're dressing in layers if you're going to be outside at all, but also if you're going to be outside for long periods of time. All the layers. I can't stress it enough. It's going to be really, really cold stepping out the door. Here's where the heaviest snow is right now. It's still states away, but you can see the dark blues really coming into play. That's heavy snow, guys, moving through parts of central Illinois. Let's see. I don't believe there are any active warnings out that direction, but I'm curious. See, since there's such heavy, there's no warnings out in that direction. Just what we have here, those winter storm warnings in the pink. That includes Indianapolis, now it includes Dayton, all of southern Ohio too. Again, this heavy snow is for everyone here in the Ohio Valley, really, but especially here in Cincinnati, we're seemingly the bullseye of the heaviest snow, especially out of the state of Ohio. But here's where the snow is right now. Just starting to see things pick up a little bit down south towards Owen County, Gallatin, you're next, and then a little bit there in Carroll counties as well. So very light where we do see it, but look, not too far away, some heavier snow moving through the area. It'll be here very shortly. And so as the snow chances tick up, just make sure you're giving yourself some extra time. You're going to see the heaviest snow moving through the tri-state right in the middle of the afternoon. Terrible timing, I know. And then as we see the day turn to night, if you will, that's when we see the snow chances start to fall a little bit, but the temperatures are going to be tumbling too. We'll take a look at that here in just a second, see if there are any questions coming on in. Seth's tuning on in. Hi, Erin. I'm watching IntelliStar on the Weather Channel from 2004. I remember it. I hope you're enjoying it. Have a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Tara's tuning in. How much is Georgetown, Ohio going to get? I have to be at work by 7 p.m. Oh, girl, I'm so sorry. I mean, that's terrible timing for 7 o'clock this evening. I mean, Georgetown, you guys are still under the gun to see upwards of 3 to 4 inches. I'd say you're a little bit less away from the 5 inches, but still seeing snow, Tara. I mean, You are going to have a tricky drive into work, especially Georgetown, Brown County, Adams County, the more rural areas. Sure, the main roads get traded, but I know the back roads can be especially dangerous. So just make sure you're giving yourself some extra time. Arlene's tuning in. It's in Union County. Yeah, winter storm warning there in Union County. I believe that's what we're talking about. So that's the new information for you guys. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more and show you more in depth what it's going to look like on your weather timeline, which here's the newest information for you guys. See the snow right now just off to the west like I showed you on radar. Here's where it's moving on in around noon. That's when the snow is going to start to pick up here in the metro area. It'll pass east out towards Georgetown, Adams County, Highland County, a little bit closer to 1 o'clock. But notice, I'm going to take you through the next few hours, and I want you to pay attention. Where we have the snow starting around noon, you're going to keep seeing the snow for hours. That's why it's a first alert weather day, and that's why you could see upwards of 5 to 6 inches of snow. It just depends on where we see the heaviest snow belts within this big conglomerate of snow, right? But those down in northern Kentucky, I mean, if you were paying attention, you guys don't see a lot of snow today. There's a very sharp cutoff, but later on this evening, expect some accumulating snow. Compared to the rest of us, though, your impact to travel is not going to be as great. Perhaps that's good news, perhaps that's not so great news. So here's some new information coming on in for you guys. We have some new snowfall totals. So this one is showing you a track that's a little bit farther south, and so maybe some isolated totals closer to 7 inches, but 5 to 6 generally is going to be the highest of that range. Most of us going to be around 3 to 4. Lesser totals, northern Kentucky, 1 to 2. Very sharp gradient. I know it's already hard enough to forecast snow, and now you got to consider that even a 20-mile shift in the storm track will make or break a 4-inch forecast versus a 6 or 7-inch forecast. So just prepare for a good amount of snow and prepare for a lot of cold to follow. Temperatures waking up tomorrow morning in the single digits. Those are the forecast lows for tomorrow. Some of us, I mean, you can't rule out sub-zero lows tomorrow, below zero temperatures in the morning. Okay. Let's go ahead and answer some questions before I start talking a little bit more about tomorrow's first alert weather day. Okay. Mike is tuning in. Foster, Kentucky. Kentucky and northern Kentucky in general, not going to see a lot of snow. Maybe 1.5 inches down your direction. But if you travel any farther north, you could see upwards of 3. Again, it's a very sharp difference between the forecast. Just a couple miles is all it takes. Tara, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Daniel said, more to the north, they said. It would be fun, they said. Exactly. That's usually how it works, right? Yeah, higher snowfall totals you'll see here in a second. I'll remind you guys are going to be north of Cincinnati. We've got Pamela tuning in. What about Westwood? Great question. Most of Hamilton County is really not going to see the heaviest amount of snow, but you're not seeing the lightest either. Right there in the middle, I'd say around 3 inches of snow, give or take. Okay, more questions. Darlene's saying Kentucky is going to get 6 inches. Hey, it can happen. It can totally happen. It's just not looking likely. Brenda's saying no. I'm sorry, Brenda. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news. Carrie is asking about Middletown, Ohio. Yeah, Middletown. I'm just going to pull up the snow map for you guys one more time to answer some questions. Middletown that's where we see the higher side of the spectrum. 5 to 6 inches, maybe higher in spots. And that's just because you're seeing the heaviest snow of the tri-state for the longest period of time. Dora's tuning in. Northern Kentucky, lighter side of the spectrum, 1 to 2 inches. Kiki's tuning in. I'm over winter already. It's already the beginning. Winter technically hasn't started. It starts on the 21st. If you want to get technical, I know I consider it winter, but some people might correct you. It starts on the 21st, so a week from tomorrow. Erin's tuning in. Trenton, Ohio. We got a lot of people asking about Ohio. Ohio is, just to answer a few questions all at once, that is where we're seeing the higher side of the totals. I'd say if you're tuning in from the very southern part of Brown County, very southern part of Adams County, maybe backing off on those totals a little bit just because you're farther south, but the farther north you are in the tri-state, the more likely you're going to see some of those higher snowfall totals. Again, winter storm warnings in effect for most of the tri-state and at this point, all of the northern tri-state with that new information coming on in. Doris is asking about northern Kentucky again. I believe I already answered. Carrie's tuning in. Thank you. Of course. Happy to help. Good morning from Williamsburg, Ohio. Good morning out to you guys out towards Claremont County. Cheviot, Ohio. Megan's asking about Cheviot. And yeah, you guys will see around that 3 to 4 inch mark, but some models are suggesting a pretty sharp difference between the storm track. Let me show you guys another model to give you an idea of what we're working with here, because this one has the storm track a little bit farther south, but others have it a little farther north. And the difference here is very key. And that's why our range of possibilities is still very high, or I should say wide, not high. Okay, so here's a different model that I like to show people. Look at the difference here. Still looking at about roughly the same snowfall totals, still looking at roughly the same cutoff area between low and high. It seems like the divide here, or at least generally the divide here, is going to be the Ohio River, with the exception of northern Boone, Kenton, and Campbell counties. You're kind of lumped in with Cincinnati here, upwards of 5 inches possible. And higher snowfall totals, 6.5, can't be ruled out, up towards Clinton, Warren counties as well. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot moving through. JD's tuning in. How are you doing today? What's the weather for Canton? Have a good day and night. You too, JD. The Canton forecast for tomorrow, I'm assuming is going to be a little bit dicey that direction too, and I'm doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Deisha's tuning in. Russellville, Ohio. Yeah, Ohio, I'm going to be seeing a good amount of snow. It depends on where you are, like I keep saying. So parts of Brown County, parts of Adams County, I'd say the very southern part of both are really just going to see the lesser side of the spectrum, whereas everyone else in Southwest Ohio are going to be seeing the higher side of the spectrum. But it's a very sharp cutoff. In Russellville itself, because you guys are kind of on the very southern, or on the more southern side of Brown County, probably around that 2 to 3 inch mark. It's not out of the question that you see 4 to 5 though. All it takes is a little shift in that storm track. So plan for snow. That's what we're saying. And more questions. Ben's tuning in. What time will the heaviest snow stop? So the heaviest snow, well, it's going to come to an end this evening. Around 10 o'clock, it's going to start to taper off. It'll come to a complete stop around midnight. Matthew's tuning in. What about Cleves, Ohio? Cleves, like Cincinnati, around that 5 inch mark can't be ruled out. 3 to 4 at least for Cleves. Brenda's tuning in. Claremont, Amelia, Ohio. How much snow? So Claremont County, got Amelia. Claremont County, I mean, Amelia is kind of right in the central part, so that's right along that sharp divide, right, in which we can't rule out anywhere from about 2 to 5 inches of snow for you guys. Jordan's asking, will the roads be safe in northern Kentucky, Kenton County at 6 p.m.? So Jordan, as far as what roads we're talking about, the main roads, people have been preparing for this day for a long time. I would assume the main roads are going to be at the best that they possibly could be, but with snow happening for several hours, it's hard to maintain that level of cleanliness to the streets. So just give yourself extra time. I mean, it's not going to be 100% safe for sure, especially the untreated roads. But the main roads aren't I mean, I can't sit here and tell you guys that it's going to be better because, I mean, it's going to snow a lot. So just make sure you're giving yourself extra time, and if you can, maybe avoid being out on the roads this evening. Julie's tuning in. Germantown, Ohio. Got a lot of questions about Ohio. Got Monroe, Hamilton near Fairfield. I can't say that for some reason. Yeah, let's talk about Butler County. So that's going to be on the higher side of the spectrum as well. 5 to 6 inches can't be ruled out. But again, if we see this shift, pull a little bit farther north, that would bring in those lighter snowfall totals. But for right now, I mean, radar's behaving exactly how this model has been suggesting, for lack of a better term. And so we can expect a pretty sharp drop off between the snowfall totals here in Cincinnati versus those down in northern Kentucky. Patricia is tuning on in. Good morning. How much snow for Pendleton County, Kentucky? You guys are on the lighter side of the spectrum for sure. The northern side of Pendleton County, maybe upwards of an inch, and those 1 to 2 inches, let's create a buffer, and then maybe lighter totals on the southern side. Thanks for tuning in, Patricia. Nicole's tuning in. What about Butler County and what time is it supposed to start? I'm just now tuning in. So Butler County, you guys will see it start closer to about 11 to 12. With the snow, it'll be pretty light and then it'll pick up towards the afternoon. Shannon's saying, bring on summer. Yeah, bring on summer. I'm sure a lot of people would agree with that. Jamie's tuning in from Scioto County. I'm glad you guys are tuning in from outside the viewing area. You guys hopefully are staying nice and safe as well. Rob is tuning in with a great question. Are we looking at dry snow or heavy wet snow? So we have a good amount of snow moving through the tri-state. We had a good amount moving through yesterday too. However, the difference between yesterday and today is the snow ratio. We saw a very high snow ratio yesterday, whereas today it's lower. And what you need to know about that is that today's is going to be easier for packing just because it's going to be a little bit colder, a little bit more moist. So it's leaning on the heavier side of the snow, but that's really just in comparison to yesterday. Thanks for tuning in, Rob. Nikki's tuning on in Independence, Kentucky. You guys are kind of on that cusp. I mean, Boone, Kenton, Campbell, Claremont, Dearborn. It depends if you're on the southern side versus the northern side, because the southern side you'll see an inch, maybe 2. The northern side, 3, maybe 4 inches. All it takes is 20 miles difference. Becca's tuning on in. Good morning. What about Hamilton and what about Newtown, rather, in Hamilton County? Great question. So that's out a little bit closer to the Lunkett Airport area, just a little bit east of that. And so like much of Hamilton County, northern Claremont County, suggesting around 3 to 4, upwards of 5. Lisa's tuning in, Brown County. That's another sharp gradient. Southern side of Brown County is going to be like 1 to 2. Northern side is going to be maybe 4 to 6. It really just depends, of course, where you are in Brown County. Corinne's tuning in. Is it safe to say this was brought down from the North Pole with Santa on his recent visit while checking his list? Yes, and he brought the cold too. We'll talk about that here in a second. Shonda's tuning in. What about conditions around 4 to 5 o'clock? We were actually talking about this morning, me and the team, because I'm going to be back in tomorrow morning as well. And we're talking about what's it going to be like for us and how visual is it going to be for us here. For tomorrow morning, since the snow ends overnight, we only see conditions improving throughout the morning, depending on how quickly we're able to clear the streets, of course. So conditions around 4 o'clock and 4 to 5 o'clock in terms of the weather, a lot better. Very cold though. The snow will stick around. The ice will, of course, freeze, and it will not be exactly great to be out on the roads, but at least it's not pelting snow on you around that time. Thanks for tuning in. Barry's tuning in. Thanks for what you do and keeping us informed. Glad to help, Barry. Of course, it's what we do. Lisa's tuning in. Goshen. I love Goshen. That's where I went to high school. Northern Claremont County, also the higher side of the spectrum at this point in time. 4 to 6 inches can't be ruled out up that direction. Scott's joking around. Call out the guard. It's going to snow. Keep up the great work. You're doing great. Thank you so much, Scott. You too. Stay nice and warm. Nikki's tuning in. What about Kenton County? So I've answered Kenton County. The southern side of Kenton County, lighter snowfall totals compared to the northern side. And it's a pretty sharp difference here. We're talking 4 to 5 in the northern side, maybe about 2 to 3 in the southern side. Can't rule out even lower totals there. Tasha's tuning in. Eastgate, Ohio. So Eastgate's a little closer to just east of Newtown in Claremont County. And that's another spot in which the snowfall totals are they drop very quickly. There's quite a dramatic difference from north to south in Claremont County. So right in the middle, I'd say around 4 to 5 inches. You might escape with maybe 3, depending on the track. Nikki's asking, what time will it start snowing for Hillsboro? So Hillsboro, you guys will see it closer to around 1 or 2. Katrina's tuning in. Northern Kentucky, at work in Crestville Hills, have to drive home to Florence around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, yeah, the timing of that is really unfortunate because that's right when the heaviest snow is going to be moving through, including parts of northern Kentucky. Even though they're not seeing the heaviest snow, it's still the ride home is going to be a little bit on the dangerous side. Hopefully you're able to stick to main roads, Katrina. Tasha's, I already answered about Eastgate, Ohio. Cole Rain, hello, Mary. Thanks for tuning on in. Patrice is tuning on in. Enjoy this day, you meteorologists. Looking forward to watching it from my warm living room in St. Bernard. Enjoy it, of course. Oh, Brad's tuning on in. What are you doing? Go to bed, Brad. Don't you have work today? Brad's tuning in, requesting 0 inches for me, please. Adjust the forecast. Thanks. Yeah, let me just like twiddle my thumbs a little bit and magically fix this. I'll get right on that, Brad. Sherry's tuning in, working in Blue Ash and traveling home to Hamilton around 7 to 8 o'clock. Will I be able to get home? You're going to be able to get home. How quickly? Up for debate. Thanks for tuning in, Sherry. Alex is tuning in, Switzerland County. Great question. That's another lower side of the spectrum, so out towards Vivi, just south of Ohio County there in southeastern Indiana. I'd say 1 to 2, maybe some higher totals on the northern side and perhaps some lower totals on the southern side. Nikki's tuning in. How much is Lynchburg getting? So Lynchburg, that's kind of really on the cusp and the edge, if you will, the corner of Claremont, Brown, and Clinton counties. Yeah, Lynchburg is going to be getting a good amount of snow, maybe upwards of 5 to 6 inches. Tasha's asking about, okay, that. I answered Eastgate. Mary's asking about Coleraine, very similar to Cincinnati, 4 to 6 inches. Glenda's tuning in, Holton, Indiana. I'm not familiar with Holton, so pardon me while I Google where this is. Okay, there she is. So Holton, I'm glad I learned something new. That's a little bit farther west of Dearborn County. I mean, it's not going to be as bad for you compared to, say, us here in Cincinnati, but at the same time, you are on the very fine line between heavy snowfall totals and lighter snowfall totals. So northern side versus southern side, a very stark difference. Expect snow, though. I would assume at least 2 inches for you guys. And, okay. D'Angelo is tuning in. What time do you believe it will start in College Hill? So College Hill, very similar to arrival time in Cincinnati. I'd say between 11 and 12, closer to 12 o'clock. Katrina is saying, thank you, thankful for 4-wheel drive, and we'll definitely stick to the main roads. Yes, that's the key here, sticking to the main roads and giving yourself extra time. 4-wheel drive is key as well. That's amazing that you have that. And Chrissy's asking about Independence. Independence, that is going to be on the cusp between lighter and higher snowfall totals. Again, a lot of these locations, you guys are you just so happen to be in that very fine line between 1 to 2 inches versus 3 to 4 inches, which is a very stark difference here. But Independence, you guys are more than likely going to be anywhere from about 3 to 4 inches, right there in the median part of our forecast here. Again, the farther north you are of Cincinnati, the higher snowfall that you will see. The farther south you are, the lower snowfall you will see. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on, you guys, talk a little bit more about the cold moving through the tri-state, in which, yeah, I mean, the snow is really impactful, but the cold is too, and that's what we're tracking for tomorrow morning. We woke up this morning here in Cincinnati right around 30 degrees. Look at tomorrow. 3 degrees, tomorrow's forecast low. Here in Cincinnati, some of us will be colder than that. Some of us really getting close to that 0 degree mark waking up tomorrow. The wind shift, the snow, the clear skies, which we'll see some clear skies tomorrow, they're all to blame. And we're going to hang on to these very cold, bitter temperatures even through your afternoon. So we're struggling for the Bengals forecast. Unfortunately, not looking at very comfortable conditions at all, I would say. Tailgating is going to be cold, single digits, and kickoff and driving home, the whole game really going to be in the teens. A forecast high tomorrow at 15 against the Ravens. Very cold, at least the sun's out, but any snow that we have moving through today will stay put because it's going to be very cold. And you factor in a wind. This is how cold it's going to feel. This is the wind chill or the feels like temperatures. Anywhere from about 10 to 15 degrees below 0 tomorrow morning. The afternoon, 0 degrees, maybe down below 10 degrees below. Yeah, it's going to be very cold. And then Monday as well, not seeing a lot of relief in that forecast too. So today is the snow, but then frigid temperatures settle on in pretty quickly. Now, let's talk a little bit more about next week. We don't have a lot of details about next week, of course. It's mainly about the snow this weekend, but we do want to keep an eye on Thursday of next week because that's our next best chance for some rain. That's right, we're warming up next week. Warm enough to see rain, mainly rain with this. Maybe a few rumbles of thunder working on through. And depending on the timing of this storm, or line of storms, I should say, we can't rule out just a quick shot of snow right behind it. Depends on how quickly we see those cold temperatures flood on in. And then we're going to be on our merry little way into your Friday. So that's a look ahead there at your 7-day forecast, in which I said this all morning long, and I'm going to say it again. It has literally everything except the 70s and the 80s. It has a little bit of something for everyone, I think. From today, we got a lot of snow in the forecast for those here in Cincinnati and north. 2 to 6 inches can't be ruled out. I'd say most of us will stick between 2 and 5 though. Now tomorrow morning, a first alert weather day because of how cold it's going to be. A forecast low of 3 degrees will feel as low as negative 15 degrees, and then the afternoon is about 15, your forecast high. Now Monday, another very cold start to the work week. Bus stops in the morning, layers. Maybe stay in the car, stay inside as long as you can before stepping out for the bus stop, because not only is it going to be cold with the air temperature, but the wind chills are also going to be quite cold. Sub-zero morning wind chills, in fact, in the afternoon in the 20s. But look, Tuesday 30s, Wednesday 40s, Thursday 50s. We start our warm-up on Tuesday afternoon. We peak there on Thursday. Those showers and storms, though, roll on through and pull back in those colder temperatures to round out your work week. Okay, I'm going to answer a couple more questions, and then we're going to go ahead and hop off of here. Lori's tuning on in. Good morning, Oxford. Good morning. I think she is asking how much Oxford's going to get and when that's going to start. So Oxford, that's going to be up towards Butler County, very northern side there. You guys can expect the snow to be picking up here very shortly. I would assume closer between 11 and 12, closer to about 11. And then we're going to start to see the heaviest snow move in just a few hours later. So here's where the snow is moving through right about now. Lighter snow entering through the tri-state. It's going to be pulling into Cincinnati within the next 30 to 60 minutes. And then the heaviest snow will pull through a few hours later. Okay. And more questions. Ashley's tuning in. What time does the snow start for northern Kentucky? Depends where you are in northern Kentucky. For Boone, Kenton, Campbell counties, the very northern part of northern Kentucky, you guys will see the snow starting. I mean, it'll be pretty light for you guys compared to the rest of us. You can expect it to start in the early afternoon, but then the heavier snow for you guys will be moving through later on, closer to the evening. Okay, no other questions coming on in right now. I'm happy to help Ashley, of course, and thank you all so much for tuning on in. We're going to be watching out for you guys for these snow showers, the bitter cold temperatures, and all of the changes to come there in that 7-day forecast. And of course, we'll make sure you get through today nice and safe. But I'm going to go ahead and leave a link here in the comments because we want to see your snow pictures and your snow reports and everything like that. So if you guys would be so kind to send us your snow pictures, you can do so at the link that I'm dropping into the comments right now. And we will feature them, or we might feature them later on this evening on Fox 19. Oh gosh. I think we start at 10. I can't forget the football schedule. I keep forgetting the football schedule. Later today on Fox 19. Long story short, you guys, can you tell I've been awake for a little bit? Okay, so that's where the snow is right now. It's going to be picking on up within the next couple of hours, and then it's going to become heavier throughout the afternoon. So again, just a quick reminder before I sign off of here, how much snow to expect. I mean, it's a pretty wide range. And hopefully you guys can find yourselves on the map so I don't have to walk everyone through where each community is going to be seeing the snow. But here's what we're tracking. Low snowfall totals the farther south you go. We're talking maybe less than an inch. Cincinnati, That's when it really ramps up. 2 to 5. Maybe closer to 6. I mean, you can't rule that out, but I'd say it's more of a lock to see those higher snowfall totals in Butler, Warren, Clinton, Franklin, Fayette, and Union counties. I mean, this will be a good amount of snow moving through the tri-state, so use this as perhaps an excuse to stay inside today, get some chores done around the house, certainly not wanting to be on the roads past the early afternoon today and into tomorrow as well. Okay, I'm not seeing any other questions coming on in, so I appreciate you all wanting to stay nice and weather aware this first alert weather day. We will be sure to have the latest for you guys coming up later tonight on Fox 19. But for now, signing off here in Queensgate, I'm meteorologist Erin Ashley. Have a great rest of your day and stay warm.